Hi, thanks for joining me today. It's Kathie. I have a new project to share with you. We're going to be using the August 2017 paper pumpkin kit, and this is alternate project number 2. Before we begin, I just want to mention that there is a paper pumpkin promo going on. If you're in Canada and you're interested in trying out paper pumpkin, I would love to earn your business. Details are below. Now here's a quick shot of today's card that we're going to make, and we're going to get started. Okay, so we're going to be using the pink Pirouette ink to ink up the bleeding hearts, and also we're going to be needing the little petal stamp there along with a pencil, and that's a piece of watercolor paper which measures about 4 inches by 5 1/4. And with your pencil we're just going to draw an arch like so, and then a couple of stems. So this is going to be the branch for the bleeding hearts, and I am drawing out the leaves, but I decided afterwards that I'm going to incorporate the leaves that came in the kit. So I'm just kind of fussing a little bit here, but no need to draw the leaves if you don't want to, but we do need those 3 stems. Okay, and then what I'm going to do next is just kind of draw a couple of tick marks. So we're going to do 3 tick marks, one higher than the other, with your pencil, and that way you kind of know where you're going to place the little petal when you stamp it. So the first bleeding heart that we're going to stamp, we're just going to do somewhat like a 3/4 profile. So I did stamp kind of like one on top of each other, and then the other 2, the one in the center and on the left, that's just going to be a front-facing bleeding heart. And we're going to be using a different medium today. It's going to be the Zig Clean Real Brushes. I always say that wrong. So Zig Clean Color Real Brushes. And we're going to be using pink, pale pink for the blending, and the wine red color to give it some darker shadows. Okay, so we're going to start with the pink, and we're just basically outlining the flower, or we'll call it a heart. And then we'll just kind of scribble along the bottom there, but do leave some white spaces like so. And then with the pale pink, we're just going to blend in the 2 colors. Now, once you start picking up the darker pink, just dab off, because you want to retain that highlight on the hearts there. And that way it makes it look kind of like 3D and pops out. And I am going to round the edges a bit on these hearts just to make them look a little bit more puffier. And then we'll draw 2 long lines. Just kind of bring them down. Make sure they're not too short, and then just round the sides at the bottom there, just to give it that bleeding heart. We'll call it a tail. Okay, and then here's the red, or the wine red, just to give it darker shadows, just to make that image pop even more, so that it doesn't look flat. And then we'll just blend in all the colors with that pale pink. Okay, and then we're going to do the second one, but I'm just jumping ahead and just showing you the tail again. And note, I actually did this one a little messy, so it doesn't look the same as the first one. It's okay if it's not perfect. A little more highlighting with the wine red. And now for the third one. So we're just going to color in that one stamp of the petal, and then just leave a little bit of white space. And then see how there's only like half of that one side? And we'll just leave a little space. And then with the pale pink, we'll just blend it all in. Don't forget to dab off. And just by leaving those highlights, it just really adds to the image. And then there's the wine red, just to give it the detail so it stands out a lot more. And then our tail, we're just going to do a solid tail with a little nub on the end. And then the wine color again. And I think I'm going to flip my image over so that I can work on the bottom parts there. So I'm just kind of cleaning up the edges and elongating it a little bit because it looks a little bit short. And then for the third one there on the left, I'm just going to give it more shadows so that it pops out a lot more. So a lot more definition, that is. All right, we're going to be working on the branch now. So with May green and the pale green, I believe is what it says. With the lighter color, I'm just going to outline the branch. So the main branch and then the 3 little stems is all we're going to need. And then with the May green, I'm pretty sure it said May green, we're just going to outline it again. And you don't need this branch to be super straight because branches are not straight. And then we'll just add these little tick marks along this branch here to make it look more realistic. All right, and then with olive green, I brought that in to just kind of draw in just below the branches some dark shadows so that the image pops more. And then once I'm happy with that, I'm going to bring the pale green in to blend all the colors in. Just remember to dab off. Okay, I think that looks good. Oh, and we're going to do those hanging stems for the bleeding hearts next. So just make sure that they swing and flow nicely when you draw them. And then as you touch onto the red, you're going to pick up some red, and it's okay if you drag it up a little bit on that stem because those stems tend to have a little bit of red on it. So it makes it look much more realistic. So I think they turned out really nice. Now the bottom of those tails, I'm going to clean it up. What I did was I used my white gel pen and just kind of cleaned up the centers there because it looked a little bit rough. Okay, now for the background, we're going to use the Persian blue zig marker. And what we want to do here is have a nice blue around the edge of the card and then fade towards the center. So just kind of add a little bit more water towards the center so it fades the pigment. And I'm using a 10 round brush along with some water on the side there. And I did this 3 times. So each time I did hit it with my heat gun. And then I just added more pigment to build up the color. So this is the 2nd time. And then here's the 3rd time after I dried it. And I'm really laying a lot more down this time. And when you feel that you have too much on there, just grab your paper towel and just dab off. And I do have a lot there, so I did dab off maybe a bit too much, but I can just pick up some more pigment and just spread it out and then have it fade towards the center. All right, so I've dried it and I think I'm pretty happy with it, and we're going to move on and we're going to put the leaves on. That's from the kit. So they're kind of unconventional leaves for a bleeding heart flower plant, but we're going to go with it because I think it turned out nice nonetheless. So 3 of the ferns and then 3 of the larger leaves, and then I just used 1 small leaf also. So I fussed with this just for a little bit, and I think I'm happy with this layout. And then anything that sticks out, just trim that off and then erase any pencil marks. And I decided to put some veins on these leaves, and I couldn't find my old olive marker. So this is garden green. And then once I was done that, because I wasn't happy with the garden green, I grabbed the olive green zig marker and just re-outlined everything, and then also kind of put some shadows in between those leaves, and then brought in the pale green to blend it all together. Now this sentiment is from the kit, and I stamped it with Night of Navy. So I think I did a good job there, nice and straight, well, pretty close. And then because this is a watercolor piece of cardstock, and I want it nice and straight, I did cover the back with 3D foam tape entirely, and then I mounted it on a piece of blushing bride that measures 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and a top folding card at 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. And then to finish the card off, some clear wink Stella and 3 enamel dots in tempting turquoise. Well, that's our card for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks so much for joining me today. Bye for now.